Hi, Dyslexic Genius here, Brad Hurt. I'm back on the Triumph and I'm going to work on the motor. And this is going to be a couple of videos putting the gear train together. And the first thing you insert is the governor, and then you insert the winding crank mechanism and the ratchet paw. So let's talk about the winding crank mechanism. I've polished everything out, flex tone, so it'll spin smoother. And then before assembly on those, I added STP oil in here and in here. And I inserted a new cotter key too, because that helps a lot. The other thing is, when I took it apart, the ratchet, the paw here for the ratchet paw was loose. It was going back and forth like this. I've tightened that up. And on assembly, when the shaft goes through into the ratchet paw, I put I put STP in here also. Because when's the next time you're going to come back and lube this? Right here. And when's the next time you're going to come back and lube this? On assembly of the whole gear train, I'm using super lube on these because it stays longer than sewing machine oil, and because we have these hardened bearings in, it helps them run a lot smoother. When you put the bearings in, you want them, I can use this governor. You want the bearing to come in and literally touch like this. These run better when they're just touching. Once you get them in, and you play with it a little, you bring them in, and now I move it back and forth so I have about center distance right in here. Because after assembly, we can loosen this screw right here to move the whole governor, the weight, and the flywheel left or right a pinch. And you won't have to adjust the bearings. You can adjust the governor on top. Once you have this set, and these have just about that much play, about a thousandths play, when you hit it, and it'll just sit there and it'll run for a long time, and that's what it should do. See how it doesn't slow down? It just keeps the momentum of the weights. That 4-ball governor, it just keeps it running. And that's really good. On final assembly, because these gears, the governor drive gear, this big brass one, are notoriously loud because it's brass on steel. I'm going to coat it with STP. But when you look at here, if my sweet angel, I'll wiggle back and forth, you can see there's kind of a line in the gear. It's hard to see, but there is. There's a low area here and a high area here. That's because they had the governor off like this, or it should be like this. So now final assembly, we'll get it running, and we'll move this like that just a little to get the minute noise out of it. I've already checked, and it is a little loud. There's a high area on this because the gear was running off of it a little. And you can barely see that line. There's kind of like a line in the gear, and that's where the low area is. So what I have to do is to get that back into that low area that's been running all the time. Because if we have the teeth like this on the governor drive gear, the brass one, and let's say it was running on this part of it, it's down like this. Now everything's running at an angle. So we have to get it back into this area to help it run smoother the way it was originally. And with the STP on it, it'll just go away. But this is the trick right here. You get them to spin, and you're good to go. I love this hobby, and I love pointing these things out. And that's my tip for the day.